In the previous paragraph, we have seen that Mr. Sir Thomas Bertram was apprehensive of the fact that if his two sons grew up together and together with Mrs. Price's daughter, then there was a chance of them falling in love. Mrs. Norris, on the other hand, said that if indeed they were to be growing as brothers and sisters, then there was very little chance of them falling in love. To which Sir Thomas says, "Yes, there is a great deal of truth in what you say, and far be it from me to throw any fanciful impediments in the way of a plan which would be so consistent with the relative situations of each." Now Sir Thomas Bertram says that there is a great deal of truth in what Mrs. Norris had just said, and he was not going to put an impediment in the plan they were thinking of, and it would be consistent with the relative situation of each of the family. That is, it would be consistent with the situation of Sir Thomas Bertram's family as well as Mrs. Price's family. I only meant to observe that it ought not to be lightly engaged in, and that to make it really serviceable to Mrs. Price and creditable to ourselves, we must secure to the child or consider ourselves engaged to secure her hereafter, as circumstances may arrive, the provisions of a gentlewoman. Now Mr. Thomas says that I only meant that this plan should not be lightly engaged in, and in order for the plan to be useful to Mrs. Price and creditable to themselves, they must secure the child the provisions of a gentlewoman. And and I thoroughly understand. Mrs. Norris says, "I thoroughly understand you," cried Mrs. Norris. "You are everything that is generous and considerate." Now Mrs. Norris says that I thoroughly understand you, and I also agree to the fact that you are very general and considerate. She says to Sir Thomas Bertram, "And I am sure we shall never agree on this point." And she was sure that they are never going to disagree on the matter. "Whatever I can do, as you well know, I am always ready enough to good for do good for those I love." Now Mrs. Norris said that she was a person who was always ready to do good who for those whom she loved. And though I could never feel for this girl the 100th part of the regard I bear your own dear children, nor consider her in any respect so much my own, I should hate myself if we were capable of neglecting her. Now Mrs. Norris said that she would love Sir Thomas Bertram's children and consider them her own, and she would not consider Mrs. Price's children as much her own as she would consider Sir Thomas Bertram's children. And yet, even though she would consider uh, Sir Thomas Bertram's children more of her own, she would at the same time not neglect Mrs. Price's child. Is she not a sister's child? And could I bear to see her want while I had a bit to give her? So she was of the view that she would not be neglecting Mrs. Price's child as well, and she would give her provisions if it was in her power. And or I could I bear to see her want while I had a bit of bread to give her. My dear Sir Thomas, with all my faults, I have a warm heart, and poor as I am, would rather deny myself the necessaries of life than do an ungenerous thing. Now Mrs. Norris says that has a very warm heart, and although she is poor, she would rather deny herself the necessaries of life than do a bad thing, than do an ungenerous thing. So if you are not against it, I will write to my poor sister tomorrow and make the proposal, and as soon as matters are settled, I will engage to get the child to Mansfield. Now she said that if Thomas Bertram was not against it, she would write to her sister tomorrow, and she would make the proposal of bringing Mrs. Price's daughter to Mansfield Park. My own trouble, you know, I have never regarded. I will send Nanny to London on purpose, and she may have a bet to at her cousin the saddler's, and the child be appointed to meet here. So Mrs. Norris said that she would be writing to Mrs. Price and make the proposal, and she would be bringing Mrs. Fanny Price's eldest daughter, home. They may easily get her from Portsmouth to town by the coach, under the care of any creditable person that may chance to be going. Now they will be bringing Mrs. Price's daughter under the supervision of some tradesman wife or someone else who was going to the place where Mrs. Price stayed. Thank you.